Happy Wednesday, everyone. Of course, one quick moment before we get to this video. Chelsea has won the Europa Conference League, becoming the first club to win not only the UEFA Champions League, the Europa League, and again, I'm assuming there's a third title, but they have won the conference title, which is a massive accomplishment for the Chelsea Football Club. Congrats, first off, to Chelsea, Enzo Marasco, as they win the Europa Conference League. But that's not what we're going to talk about. Today, we're talking about the MLS Matchday 16 prediction video, which is going to happen tonight. Tonight is going to happen at 7:30, which kicks off between DC United and New England. DC United coming off a draw to New York, coming off a loss to New York Red Bulls. New England coming up an impressive draw to Kansas City. Even game. This should be a fun one. I'll give this to New England with a 2-1 win. New York Red Bulls taking on Charlotte at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Charlotte getting a massive 3-2 win at home against Columbus. And now they got to go to New York. And they got to take on the Red Bulls. And this should be an interesting game for Charlotte because they cannot afford to go back to another winless streak. But they end that on last Saturday against Columbus. So expect them to give them a draw. Give me a 2-2 draw against New York Red Bulls. Cincinnati taking on Dallas at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Cincinnati coming off a tough loss against Atlanta. But for Dallas, same thing. A very tough loss to Seattle. Huge game for both, but I'm going to go Cincinnati. I think they get it back 3-1 against Dallas. Atlanta taking on Orlando at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. What a treat this should be because Atlanta's coming back in a winning streak with that 4-2 win against Cincinnati. And that's their first win in a long time, since April. Of course, they started the winless streak in April's 12th. And they're back in the win column. But they got to take on a red-hot Orlando team that is coming up with some confidence this week. I think Atlanta's going to push to the limits. Give me a 1-1 draw against Orlando. New York City Football Club taking on Houston at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. New York coming off a 3-1 win against Chicago. While for Houston, an impressive draw to San Jose in this game. I expect Houston to play really great in this game, but I'm going to go with New York with a 2-1 win. Toronto taking on Philadelphia at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Philadelphia, listen, they came from a 3-1 lead to then giving up 2 goals to Miami. Tough one for them on a draw 3-3. Toronto, on the other hand, they lose to Nashville 1-2, and I'm going to say Philly wins it 3-0. Miami taking on Montreal at 7:30 p.m. Eastern game. Miami getting a huge point, of course, a draw against Philly, but they are looking for wins. They're looking for wins, and this should be an interesting one. They're going to play Montreal, who came in a draw against LAFC. This game will be huge for Miami. They cannot afford to drop points. Give me Miami with a comfortable 4-1 win. Columbus taking on Nashville at 8 p.m. Eastern game. And what a treat this should be because Columbus is in 5th place coming off a tough loss on the road against Charlotte. While for Nashville, they're a legitimate threat in the East after a huge 2-1 win against Toronto. This should be a test for Nashville because, again, Columbus is a real big threat in the East. I expect Nashville to pull off the upset with a 2-1 win. So give me Nashville. The game of the week, Seattle taking on San Diego at 8:30 p.m. Eastern game. For Seattle, they're coming off a 1-0 win against Dallas. Meanwhile, for San Diego, it's a party in San Diego. With a 2-1 win thanks to Chucky Lozano. This is a huge game because remember, if you go back, these two teams met each other in San Diego with 3-0 win against Seattle. So this should be a fun game, but being played in Lumen Field in Seattle, That environment is going to be wild. I'm going to go Seattle winning it 2-1 against them. Meanwhile, let's get to Austin taking on Real Salt Lake at 8:30 p.m. Eastern game. Austin coming off a draw to Minnesota, while for Real Salt Lake, a real good game with a 2-3 loss to Vancouver. Give me a draw, a 2-2 draw. LA Galaxy taking on San Jose at 10:15 p.m. Eastern game. LA, or should we say the champs, fall to lose to San Diego. Yeah, that's tough for your season. Your season's going down. Meanwhile, for San Jose, comfortable draw against Houston. There's nothing to say about LA Galaxy right now because there's no way I'm going to pick them anymore. If they win this game, oh yeah, we're going to be talking about them a lot. But give me San Jose with a 2-0 win. Vancouver taking on Minnesota at 10:30 p.m. Eastern game. Vancouver, first place in the Western Conference, taking on the third place team in the Western Conference. Both these teams have good games, of course. Vancouver coming off a 3-2 win against Real Salt Lake, while for Minnesota, a 1-all draw against Austin. Should be a fun game. Expect a classic, but I'll give it a 2-2 draw. And finally, Portland taking on Colorado, 10:30 p.m. Eastern game. Portland coming off a tough loss on the road to Orlando. They're going to take on Colorado, who came up with a 1-0 win against St. Louis. And eventually, yes, they caused St. Louis to fire their manager a day after their Saturday game against them. So, yeah, tough one. This is a fun one. Give me a 2-2 draw for this game. And that's it, folks. And I know there was some interruptions, so my apologies. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.